Hello, this is Sarah from Rustic Heart Photography, and today I'm just going to show you quickly how I edit the Santa in the window Christmas scene as seen here. So if we get started now. So first and foremost we need an image as we see here with the children underexposed, where they have sort of the highlights from what would be the sun, but obviously that will sort of look like the moon is lighting them up. You bring in your sky image that you wish to use and place that where you require it. It's important that this is sort of right now because you won't be able to change it once you start masking off the areas. And then once you're happy, if you put a mask on that layer and select the black colour and just fill that in with your paint pot to remove the image for now. And then what we'll be doing is masking it back in. So then this is when you need the pen tool, or this is probably an easier way to do this, to be fair, but this is the way that works for me, so it's just what I'm going to show you today. So the pen tool, make sure that there isn't any fill or any line colours, and just sort of go around the image, selecting where you want the sky to be, so obviously the window. This is the part that takes the longest, if I'm honest, so you're going to need a lot of patience. I bet there's probably a much easier way to do this, and if you know that, please let me know, because this really sometimes drives me quite mad. So as you can see, we're just putting the pen tool around the body. It's good to be sort of as close as you can, you know, but it's not all too much of a worry if you are, you know, leaving areas in, because we'll be able to mask that out as well later, as I'll show you. So I'm just going to speed this up now because we will be here all day otherwise. So as you can see, just going around the whole of the body, making sure that I keep those highlights on the clothes that are from the light outside. Around the hair is not so much of an issue because we'll be masking that back in later on. So all the way around. So now you've made a shape, and then what you need to do is just check. Obviously you can see it's around the whole of where you need the sky. Press make a selection, so right click, make a selection, just press OK, and that will give you that selection there. So now we go back to the mask area, so make sure you click on the black section, turn your colour to white, again get your paint pot and just fill that in, and then there you have a sky. Obviously that Oliver, which is the child, he looks really cut out at the moment, so we need to sort of clean that up and make him look less harsh with the lining there. So we go back in, and this is where we can mask in, mask out the areas as and when we need to. So get a soft brush, you can set the opacity to, I sort of start at about 50 and then raise it if need be, and so make sure you have the white colour and just sort of go around very gently and very sort of lightly around the area to sort of start sort of removing those parts that make it look like it's really sort of harsh line. As you can see, I'm just sort of going around the areas that are highlighted which wouldn't be in the picture if it was taken, you know, in the real life or whatever. Now you can see I'm just removing that. If it's sort of not enough at 50%, you can increase that opacity, especially around the hair where you sort of need it a little bit more. And this is where you can mask in if you have cut any of the hair off, especially for little girls where they have, you know, a lot more hair. So if for example, if you're just doing a quick cut out initially, you can sort of mask back in by changing the colour to black, or mask away like we are now with the white. So you can see I'm just sort of softening that line so it's not as harsh and doesn't stand out quite as much. Again, this is quite a long process, and it's something that you sort of need to get right to allow for it to look as realistic as possible. Again, there's probably a really much easier way to do this, so again, if you do know, please let me know, because it takes quite a while. So I'm just going to speed it up because, again, we'll be here all day. I'm just going around, obviously around the sort of the back of the children where the light wouldn't be hitting necessarily as much. You can sort of remove that a little bit off the highlights of the clothing. I do around the windows as well, just a little bit, just to soften that line up just slightly. And there you have it. So now I will cut to what I did earlier, so to speak. And there are all three areas masked in with the sky. So obviously you need to do that for each window pane that you have. And if there are any areas that you may have missed or would like to sort of clean up a little bit more, you can go back to your brush on the mask layer and just clean those edges up if you need to be. Okay, so once you're happy with the sky, what I like to do, because the final image I like to be quite dark around the edges, what I do is I make a new layer. I get a soft brush, quite large, set to black, and I just go around sort of the edge of, especially around the back of the children where the light may not necessarily be hitting, just to darken that up slightly, and it helps to sort of give the main focus as being Santa and the children. So I just sort of go around the edge where I sort of require a little bit more darkness, and I just change that opacity of that layer until I'm happy, really. Another step that I like to do as well is just darkening the backdrop just slightly around the edges. So just above the sky layer, I make a new layer and just paint in that black there, and then I crop that against the layer below by just pressing Alt on my keyboard and pressing between the two layers. And this just keeps whatever you paint on the sky layer and not on the window itself. So yeah, just adding in some darkness there and lowering the opacity of the layer until I'm happy. It just helps to add that little bit more extra darkness. Next step, a new layer, and this is just for the moon, so put the colour as white. Again, big brush, and just going to have a couple of clicks to have the moon's sort of glow to it, and I put that down to sort of around 20%, maybe a little bit more, and then I bring in my moon image. And then I obviously resize accordingly. So I bring it down quite considerably and place around the area that I put that glow previously. And when I'm happy, I just change the opacity of the layer just so I can see some of the sky behind. And I will also change the glow as well, just so I can gauge how sort of bright I want it. That seems about right. And then the next step, I bring in my Santa. And again, resize and just have the angle of the image ready for the moon. So this is a little bit big there, he wouldn't be quite that big, so just lower it down slightly, move him into place. And again, I just lower the opacity of that as well, so it's not quite so harsh. And there you really much have it, you know. So this is, you could stop here, but what I choose to do is just add a few more little edits, which kind of, you know, are my little tweaks. So firstly, I run an autumn action over it just to sort of give it a little bit more brightness. It doesn't look great at this point, but it's just my steps that I take to have my final sort of image. So that's that set. I bring the opacity to 100%, and then I just save that image to the desktop. But like I say, you don't have to follow these final steps. You can keep as is, or you can add your own actions or your own little colour edits. It's you know, it's just something that I choose to do. And then what I do with this image is I save it, obviously, maximum. And then I open up said image in Lightroom. And these are just my final little tweaks. Again, this is probably not the way you go into Lightroom, it's just easier for these particular edits for me to not have to import the normal way. So I wait for Lightroom to load and just develop this image. So now all I do is I just run another preset across this, and then you have my final image that you see. I play around with the highlights and the shadows, just bring it up slightly, and that's pretty much all I do. And after all of that, this is the final image. So I hope this tutorial has been helpful for you guys. If you have any sort of questions, feel free to let me know and I'll help as best I can. So I'd love to see any images that are made from the tutorial as well, that'd be great. So good luck, and like I say, if you have any questions, please let me know.